Legend Total War here, and today we've got a rating a doomstack video covering a Nurgle doomstack. So this one is not just a one unit spam, what we've got here are some mixed units. So we've got some soul grinders, 6 of them. They're there to take out dangerous missile units, so we're going up against dwarfs here. They've got 4 armies, but it's really like two full stacks. So they take out the dangerous missile units like iron drakes, guns, all that kind of stuff. Then you've got the Great Unclean Ones, which they're just, I guess, tanking. But then you've also got Rogue Idols. So this guy here got an alliance with both Crooked Moon and the Bone Rattlers, and took 2 Rogue Idols each. Now the thing is, these Rogue Idols are benefiting as well from the Plague, which doesn't just affect Nurgle units, it affects any units in their army, so 20% physical resistance. Now they're not going to be boosted by Lord skills, but they will get that. So these Rogue Idols get 20% physical resistance and 15% missile resistance, which I think they have normally. Now the thing is here is that Rogue Idols, I believe, are really good in Wurzag's army. You can get them way more physical resistance than that through his Lord skill, but Wurzag can't heal them. So that's something that these guys here can do. Anyway, let's jump in here and see how we go. I don't think this is the right battle to put the Banner of Eternal Flame on, since they've got units that are resistant to fire, but nothing that's actually weak against it, so there's no point bringing it. But yeah, I definitely like the idea of these mixed units doom stacks that are not just, you know, one unit spams. That actually have like a layered purpose to it. So the soul grinders having their first task of taking out dangerous missile units. They won't be able to take them all out, but you can definitely thin them out a lot, and then they can go into melee. And then these guys here with their bound spells, and the Rogue Idols for just sheer tanking and damage. Because one thing that Nurgle units, at least, don't really have a lot of is damage dealers, especially in melee. They're just too slow, high melee defense but low melee attack. But Rogue Idols, their massive bloody attacks are good at just getting rid of tons of units at a time, in melee of course. Alright.
Grandfather Nurgle's
So first up is the Rogue Idols. The Soul Grinders. So their job is to I'll send them up to thin out the enemy forces.
We will leave so many
So
corpses
at
to
360 range, the organ guns won't be able to hit us, but the regular cannons will. How much missile resistance we're looking at here? 55%, okay. Well, knocking off half damage from cannons is definitely good, but they're still going to take some damage. I think we're better off taking out small arms fire than the cannons with these, but I'm not entirely sure. Wouldn't actually be the worst thing ever to wait for the enemy reinforcements, because they'll blob up a little bit more. Alright, let's start targeting dangerous missile units. Yeah, alright, that's really good there. Okay, let's try and take out these cannons, see if that makes a difference, because we're getting a bit of damage in from nothing we can't heal. But I was surprised at how much damage a single volley of did to the Iron Drakes, because they are a low entity number. So maybe we can actually destroy these cannons here. I think having all 6 of them shoot at it's probably a mistake. Shot at a bit there. We should maybe move just a little bit further back so the organ guns can't reach us. Yeah, it's definitely better against the small arms fire, because looking at this, well, I destroyed one of the cannons. That's great and everything, but with this down at half health, it's still fairly effective. Whereas killing gunners with ease drops down their damage output significantly. Okay, here are the reinforcements. Yeah, shooting in here where there's a big blob of them, that's the way to go. Now, these were the specific instructions of the person that sent in the doomstack. The thing is, if you want me to use your doomstack in a certain way, you know, give me instructions to do so, and I'll try and do it that way. Unless the case, it's pretty obvious that you're trolling, and you like tell me to do something stupid, in which case I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, in this missile-based army, you go straight into melee. Yeah, no. But yeah, if it makes sense, I'll do it. And the instructions for this, it made a lot of sense. Get back over there. Soul grinders are definitely fast enough to be able to run back, so that's not a problem. Alright, let's start moving back. Yeah, so I didn't really do too much damage to the artillery. I really only took out one cannon. Still got a decent amount of ammo left. Yeah, like I said, we try to take out the dangerous missile units, because Nurgle's very vulnerable to that. Especially armor-piercing missiles, like guns. Because that's going to be dangerous to the rogue idols. But armor-piercing missiles or regular missiles aren't that big of a deal to great unclean ones. I'll move back a little bit more, give my sword grinders a bit more time to dish out damage. But so far, they've done a good job. We've already covered a soul grinder doomstack, so we already know that these are really good units. You could even argue that soul grinder of Nurgles are the best ones. Bounce of power looks good. Is this all their reinforcements? There's still a few more to come. Well, we've thinned them out by a ton already. Even if we haven't necessarily killed them all, these units are absolutely shredded. We've also got these summons here. Since that's part of the plague, I could use it. You know what? Maybe we should use that on the artillery. That's what they're there for. Bit of a menace below. Since these guys here weren't actually capable of taking out the artillery. But yeah, that absolutely took it out really easily. Good. Sorts that out. Alright, let's move these to the back now. They can shoot over the other one's heads. And these ones move forward. I don't think it warrants using any heal magic on them just yet. They're not that badly damaged. You should probably be on the ground.
Child.
And he said specifically to use these guys in a death blob. Just go into a blob and see how they do. What are you doing? Get over here. Alright, what we need to be doing is aiming for missile units still.
The faster boys. I
Cool. Debuff the enemy. And we got a bit of an air effect heal here. You see these guys here are taking some damage already. Seems like the Masunas are targeting them, not the rogue idols. Wonder who's going to end up with more kills, the Great Unclean ones or the rogue idols.
Nurgle, mightiest fire.
What's wrong with this one? A little bit obstructed.
For grandfather Nurgle. Yeah, the festa.
Yep, still more reinforcements coming, but, you know, it's handling it pretty well. Definitely weak against missile units, no doubt about that. But melee infantry just can't do anything to them. And thing is as well, just having one of these guys will give an entire, the entire army 4 leadership. Not each, only stacks once. As long as their hit points is above 25%.
Worshipper of disease for destruction.
Oh yeah, they don't recharge unless they're below 75 health. Maybe I'll send him off to get killed. Although we don't really need to summon, it's just to stay there. Definitely should have that cultist, but don't need it right now. So once these guys have run out of ammo, they can come in and help.
They Taliban. Blessings of war. Rot. Festa. Pass.
Watch out for really dangerous units like Iron Drakes. Now the flame ones aren't that big of a deal, but the Trollhammer torpedoes definitely are. I think the army losses will happen any moment now. And we've barely taken any damage. I know it wasn't like the toughest of enemies, but you get an idea of how much this could handle. It could probably have handled another full stack. Yeah, there's the army losses there. I mean, none of our units are at their heal cap. I didn't use any Winds of Magic whatsoever. I haven't even used any of the bounce spells, really. Yeah, and we could use this opportunity now to just essentially get up to full health. Although we did run very low on ammo, which I can't regenerate. All goes well, we'll end this battle at completely full health. Because, yeah, they get 2 fleshy abundance, don't they? Yeah, they do. They get 2 of every bounce spell. Which definitely makes these guys way more useful than they used to be when they used to use up Winds of Magic. And you had such limited amounts. But yeah, bounce spells, that's very good. Alright, let's have a look at some of the damage output. So, in terms of the Great Unclean ones, between about 3,000 and 6,000 damage. This one here did a ton, but that might have been because I used the Blight Boil. But in terms of melee, they definitely didn't do all that much. However, the Rogue Idols, 7,000. That one they didn't do so much. That one there did absolutely tons. They're comparable. They're definitely comparable to each other. But the rogue idols took significantly less damage than the great unclean ones. It might have just been because the AI, I don't think it was properly targeting them. But these are definitely tankier than great unclean ones. They've got more health for one thing. And they seem to do a similar amount of damage. But I guess the big downside here is not having these bound abilities. Now let's go into the campaign map and have a look at how much this guy here is boosting great unclean ones compared to the rogue idols, and what also the cost in terms of upkeep cost of each of these units. But I think this was a very good combination, especially against dwarfs. I don't imagine there would be any specific combination of enemy that would really give this that much of a hard time. Typically speaking, missile-heavy armies are going to be the biggest problem. Maybe fast armies would be a bigger issue, because they'd pin down the soul grinders a lot easier. But if that was the case, then you just get into a single entity blob and just fight in melee. So now we just gotta wait till the end of the turn. Another thing to keep in mind as well, especially with Nurgle, doomstacks will usually happen very much in the later part of the campaign. You're not going to get this stuff early, because of the slow rate at which Nurgle develops. So it was also endgame crisis. I can tell that a dwarf endgame crisis is going on. There's no way that Grombrinder would have made it to Ulthuan if he wasn't an endgame crisis. I think it was this one here. Alright, let's have a look. So, in terms of upkeep costs, alright, the rogue idols are more expensive than great unclean ones, so you got to take that into consideration. They'd also be a lot more difficult to replace, since you'd need allied recruitment. That means you'd have to leave your ally alone, and they also have to be able to recruit that unit from your ally. So, since the AI kind of develops weirdly in Warhammer 3, sometimes they don't build the recruitment building for their best units, it's quite possible you'll wait a little while before, we'll have to wait a little while before they actually get access to them. Whereas, you know, great unclean ones, you can probably start getting a couple of them as of like turn 50, 60. Same thing with the soul grinders of Nurgle. And then, of course, the more settlements that you have, the more often you'll get them. The army's pretty expensive, which he's rich at the moment, of course, because he's conquered how much territory? Yeah, you got, what, 2/5 of the map, so 40% of the map. Of course you're going to be fairly rich, and that's with only 6 armies, so he's definitely not on a rampage expanding as quickly as he can. Looking at how he boosts Great Unclean, let's have a look here. So they get 6 melee defense and 15 armor, and then over here they get 7 melee attack, so that's for Soul Grinders and Great Unclean ones. 7 melee attack, spell resistance, and missile resistance. But yeah, none of that's going to affect the Rogue Idols. Where they're getting the benefit is through this one here, Nurgle's Rot. So, plague effects on Nurgle armies, but not specifically Nurgle units. So you can put that physical resistance on any units in your armies, as long as it's commanded by, you know, your own faction. That one there really is the best plague for boosting your own army. And looks like he's able to get it for quite a long time. He's got it for 13 turns there, so it'll last quite a bit. But then again, these guys here are also getting access to that. So yeah, it's definitely a good doom stack, but it's not one that'll help you win the campaign. You basically have to have already won the campaign before you can even recruit it. So it's not super practical. In terms of strength, super strong. In terms of ease of use, very easy to use. I really didn't need to use much brain power or micro skill here. So very easy, very strong. This is the kind of army that that you might want to build in the super late campaign when you're doing a full map completion, but to get to this point, you basically need to have already won your campaign. So this is not something that you should beeline towards. You have to grind through and sort of win the campaign first, and then get them. Anyway, good Doomstack. Appreciate this one being sent in. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Appreciate you, and we'll see you next time, fuckers. Bye.